Heyo everybody, Haku here with my live reaction to read through for Omniscient Reader or Omniscient Reader's Viewpoint chapters 224, 225, and 226. Planning to do 3 of them. I guess if 2 of them have a ton of discussion, if they're like over 20 minutes each and we're going on 45 minutes or so with 2 chapters, I guess I'll stop at 2, but I'm planning to do 3 for now. I've mentioned before, so I'm trying not to repeat myself too much in every single intro. I've said before that, I want to do some more videos for ORV, some reviews and some things like that, but we are still like 30 chapters behind. So, 3 chapters a week and taking weeks off here and there to do extra special videos, whether rankings or discussions or reviews, anything like that. Even then, within like 3-ish months, we'll still probably catch up, and I kind of want to do special videos to keep from catching up as much as possible, because I feel like waiting for 1 chapter each week, especially when some weeks I might not have any ideas for any other Omniscient Reader stuff, that just sounds unfun to me. I don't want to be stuck waiting every single week. So yeah, just like 2 or 3 chapters, just taking it easy, being a little bit behind, I think is fine with me. I don't need to do the chapter as soon as it comes out to be happy. But once we do catch up, I probably will just do the chapters as soon as they come out. And also, the Tower of God spinoff is on Tuesdays, so if we get an official translation for that, and the official translation for that's also on Tuesdays, I'm not 100% sure what I'll do yet. I don't know if I will do both of these on Tuesdays or just put Omniscient Reader on another day until we're caught up. But I'll probably just do both on Tuesdays. I don't really think that's a big deal. But yeah, either way, I think that's all I wanted to talk about. Thank you as always for your comments and everything. I really had fun the last 3 chapters. I thought they were really good. I mean, saying that the writing's good, the story's been good, isn't really anything new. It's been good. But I like the Wenny Man. I thought that all the stuff there was fun. I loved following Dokja and the Fourth Wall in a bit of a different way, but also at the very beginning of last week's read-through, I liked seeing Yoo Jung-kyuk's moment of stepping up like that, and one of my favorite shots, I think, was the shot of, the streets of Seoul, where all of this has been going on. The title splash we got where the huge crack had formed and everyone had left. And really, that was something cool to see last week too, was Dokja just going around and seeing all of these different places now deserted. Now the scenarios are done and we just revisit it. There's almost a sense, even though I haven't been like reading weekly from the very beginning, like for years and years, there's something like nostalgic just about seeing all of these places from early in the story like this and revisiting them. So I thought all that was cool. I'm interested because the last 3 chapters were so self-contained. Like, we really just told a chunk of the story, and it ended with us transitioning from like the periphery stuff, the Horizon stuff, with the Wenny Man, transitioning from that, and it seems like we're going into like the 73rd Demon Realm, I think was what it was. So that was so self-contained that it feels like we're just getting into something completely new this week. But either way, thank you as always for watching and all of your comments and support. So either way, let's start reading. We're starting with 224. The Starstream glimpses your existence. And we saw that last time. The Starstream turns a blind eye to your existence. Saw that too. And then we have him entering. You've reached an area adjacent to a scenario. Ugh. Your existence is falling apart. Your story is being damaged. You need a new physical incarnation. Okay, so now he's going to need the incarnation now that he's in a closer place to the scenarios, I guess. Your birthing story is leaking out. If I don't hurry up and find a physical incarnation and seal these wounds... Where am I? You must have arrived at the scenario's horizon of the 73rd demonic realm by now. The scenario's horizon. Okay, very cool establishing shot for the surroundings, even though we've already seen a little bit of the surroundings in the background. It's a place littered with waste, thrown out of the scenarios by the cleaners, where those expelled from a scenario like me end up. Wait a minute. This is just a landfill. A very cool landfill, though. You'd figure the stuff that they're throwing out, there's got to be some cool stuff there if he can end up taking some things back to the scenario with him. You should be able to obtain a physical incarnation there somehow. Of course, that's only if you can get components worth using. But how you go about acquiring them is none of our business. May the horizon bless you. Wait! And then he's left alone. And again, I feel like all of the times where Dokja has been separated and... Wow, yeah, it's now actually... I'm just actually now realizing this. All the times that Dokja's been separated and kind of had to stand on his own have been really good parts of the story. Whether we're talking about the very beginning where he gets tossed off the bridge and we had the Ichthyosaur stuff. That's like always, like that's some of my early favorite stuff. And then when he gets, after the throne game... when they get separated and he has to face a lot of people from his past and a lot of his past trauma and reconnect with some other characters and form tighter relationships with them. That's some of the best stuff in the story. And now we're seeing once again Dokja separated from the others and without them to not really rely on but to include in his plans, he has to stand on his own strength and knowledge. And soon after, Kim Dokja's expression began to shift. His eyes, which darted about in panic, regained their composure, and his mouth, which hung open in disbelief, closed silently. And afterward, straightening out his clothes, Dokja mumbled to himself, "This is rough. The Winnie Man's gone then. Dokja is bad at acting. Shut up." He needed to conceal the fact that coming to this place had been his true goal all along. He had to act that way, to hide what he knew about this place and to get what he wanted. So again, it seems like from some of the stuff we had last time about him knowing about like Winnie Man details and all of this, and now knowing about this has to be all something that was included in TWSA in some way. I had to do it to avoid making the Winnie Man suspicious. This seems like the right place. And it is kind of interesting to note that he has changed Jungkook's story so much, but so often throughout the story of ORV, Dokja has kind of usurped and taken over parts of Jungkook's story from TWSA. He's like, oh, I'll do what Jungkook did and push Jungkook over here to do something else. Or at least he uses knowledge from Jungkook at some point in one of his rounds, having to go through something similar. Your birth story is falling apart. Oh, this hurts. I better get an incarnation fast or else. You're Jungkook's 111th round. The place Jungkook came to in order to regain his power after being expelled from the scenario. The 73rd Demonic Realm scenario's horizon. Jungkook found his new body in that dumping ground. I don't see a story that would make a good physical incarnation. And he stops. Activate attribute effect. The effect of the attribute Lamarck's giraffe has been activated. Okay. The evolutionary attribute he purchased for 300,000 coins from B. Young, Lamarck's giraffe. The attribute's effect is to absorb destroyed stories and restructure a body. Very specific and helpful here. The effect Search for Evolutionary Factors will now begin. Searching for story fragments to absorb. And we have bits and pieces highlighted. Story fragments have been detected. Good, I can see some parts worth using. Maybe. I'll start with this. And we have a heart. Okay, so we have a heart. I saw an arm in there when he was highlighting stuff before. Stories Horizon Part 4. So this is still the Stories Horizon sort of arc chapter, I guess. Seeing some buildings. Junkwee 1 opened up. Okay, so now we see what it's like, I guess, for the others to return to the normal world outside of the domes. But you'd figure that society with big, like, major centers of people cut off, society would have to, like, shift dramatically in the time that they've been trapped within the domes. We'd like to interview you. It's been so long since I've had a bed and a soft blanket all to myself. But how can I get any rest like this? It's been 1 week since we escaped the Soul Dome. I wonder, too, I know a lot of times when I bring up how the story hard focuses on Dokja and his character, people bring up that it's because the novel is from Dokja's, like, first-person perspective, usually. So I wonder, are all of the scenes where we cut away and we're not with Dokja's perspective, were they in the original novel? Or were they from, like, some, like, side content that the authors also put out? Or are they, like, webtoon original scenes when we see the scenes of the characters without Dokja? But how can I get any rest like this? It's been 1 week since we escaped the Soul Dome. Or maybe Dokja's just watching on using his abilities at all these times. I don't think that's the case, though, because it doesn't make sense for all of the times that we've seen this. A lot's happened since then. With the help of the provisional government, we received residences in Gyeonggi. Then we were called in to answer some questions. What happened in the Soul Dome? Are the rumors online true? We want to know how many others like you were out there holding the same belief, and just what these constellations and scenarios all are. At first I answered as sincerely as possible. They keep asking the same things. But as time went on, everything got more annoying. The few National Assembly and City Council members who'd luckily survived and made the provisional government couldn't understand the situation at all, and firmly believed that it would still be relevant to face the scenarios as a nation moving forward. There was only one thing I could tell them when they were clinging on to their outdated beliefs in this new era. All of you should change your shoes and undo your neckties. They're not the best attire for running away. Good morning, we have Jihye. Hi, Jihye. Where's Sang-ah? Knock first next time. She's shut up in her room with the kids. I think they're really shocked about Dokja being gone. And they're still in the depresso stage. It'd be nice if there was at least some kind of manual like that army man said. Have you heard anything from Hyun-sung? He was called in by the military on the first day. I haven't heard anything since then. Since. What a fool. I wouldn't have gone if it were me. Who needs the military in a world like this? Hyun-sung's gone back to the military, just like how the kids are shut up in their room. The next scenario will begin in 3 days. It'll be hell once more in 3 days, so now I guess we're getting into the planet-wide scenarios. And it's likely going to be something completely different from what we've gone through so far. You can now respond to the summons of supporting constellations, and you can receive individual trials from them. Individual trials are treated... Sorry, I was about to say something, but then I saw they were continuing. Individual trials are treated as hidden scenarios, but when they overlap with particular main scenarios, they can replace the main scenario. Replacing the scenario is only possible until the start of the 25th main scenario. I feel like if I were in this interim period where I don't have to stress out about the... Well, I mean, obviously you're going to be stressing for the 3 days leading up to the main scenario, but if I were in a situation where I had 3 days and it's not like I would have to juggle it alongside the main scenario, I would say, oh, we can do trials, like individual trials. I would probably, I don't know if you can only do one or if you get to do it multiple times, but I would try to do as many as possible, because just get as much like level grinding, get the buffs, get the equipment, whatever. I feel like that'd be pretty smart to do. The master said nothing major is going to happen for a while, so you can relax. What happened to Jung-hyuk? He wandered off somewhere muttering, Kim Dokja, Kim Dokja. I guess it makes sense, considering he always said he wanted to kill him. So unbefitting of him. What about Su Young? She left this morning saying she had to talk to government officials. She also said something about it being time to harvest the seed she'd sown. Officials. There's no use expecting them to help is what I was going to say. No use expecting help from them. If anything ever happens to me, be sure to stick with Han Su Young. I'd forgotten that Doksha said that. You're leaving? I can't just sit around here forever. We've got to prepare. Then I'm coming with you. This is good. I like the two of them, and I'd love to see more from their characters. Especially GK. It feels like GK keeps getting shoved to the background a little bit. And I like how, for this stuff away from Dokja, we've really focused on showing it from Huiwon's perspective. I really like that. Huh? Miss Huiwon, I'm a reporter. Can you give us a statement? Can you tell us exactly what happened there? And they're crowded. We heard that knowing Kendo helped you. Is that true? And we see Young Chun's hero. We welcome your safe return, Judge of Evil, Jung Mi-won. They have banners and everything. A hero. Me? Then everyone's taking photos. And we still see the dome in the background. I wonder, it feels like... So this is weird. I think it's not like... How do I describe this? I was going to say that it feels like people going in and wanting to explore, and I was going to say to explore and kind of do some like disaster tourism into the domes would be popular. But then what kind of hit me mid-thought was, oh, and the looting. People would totally want to loot all of the abandoned stuff within the domes. But we see that the domes were being cleaned by the cleaners. Is that because what's inside the dome is kind of like where Dokja was before? Is that just sort of like a metaphysical realm version and not the actual physical version that everybody else is in? But I'm not exactly sure. Like, maybe you can't just re-enter the dome, but it feels like you would maybe be able to from the place that Jungkook broke out of it. How pathetic. You really want to know what happened there? I'm not the hero you all think I am. I wasn't a candidate for the national team, nor was I even that good at kendo. Before the apocalypse, I was just a bartender at a cheap bar. What? A bar? Constellation Bald Army General gazes at you with a sad expression. Do you know who Kim Dokja is? Constellation Bald Army General is reminded of someone by your utterance. Who's that? I think I remember the name from your testimony. Kim Dokja. The survivors didn't make it out alive all on their own. What do you mean? The name Kim Dokja wasn't on the list of survivors. Why didn't he return alive? Where is he now? That's right. You wouldn't have a clue. You're just interested in those of us who lived, finding it entertaining to hear stories of hearsay. I'm certain. It doesn't matter, though. If there is one thing that I wish for, you'll be back, no matter what. Okay, this was a really good aside. Like, that was a long chapter. We got the really good stuff with Dokja to kind of, establish a little bit. But we cut away before we really got too deep into it, and we got to see some stuff with the other characters through Huiwon's perspective, just, giving us the bare details of what's going on. And I really love that. I think it expands and builds on the world that the story's being told through a lot. So I think that was a really, really incredibly good chapter when it comes to how that was written. I really appreciate it. But either way, yeah, that's 224 down. Let's keep reading. 225 this time starts with Dokja. The fourth wall said, where am I? Don't copy me. Kim Dokja thought to himself, I should pick this up. And he's continuing to do it. You idiot. And I mentioned it last week. It reminds me so much, once again, of Rimuru with Great Sage. Then, after spending 4 days walking around heaps of garbage, you end up being so desperate for someone to talk to that even the fourth wall will do. In a way, it's a comfort that I'm not just talking to myself. I'm sleepy. Hang in there. You talking makes it easier for me. And it's interesting that the fourth wall even gets sleepy. Some of the absorbed stories are causing a configuration conflict. Darn, this isn't as easy as I'd hoped. The fragments of stories I'd obtained by using Lamarck's giraffe. The ruined heart of the young old dragon. And the right arm of the pitiful sword master. The first story fragment's original name was Ruined Heart of the Young Gold Dragon Who Was Torn Apart by the Otherworld God. However, the torn apart by the Otherworld God part wasn't absorbed. This is the advantage of Lamarck's giraffe. Since Lamarckian inheritance isn't a widely accepted theory, it's not as effective in absorbing stories as other evolution-type attributes. But on the other hand, it also doesn't absorb negative traits of stories. Your new physical incarnations being formed. The creation of a new incarnations delayed the destruction of your existence. This effect is only temporary, so you should return to a scenario as soon as possible. It's a bit chilly. Huh? Wait, I think it's a little warmer now. Someone's talking about you. Your story's being created on the planet Earth. Oh, that's really good. I just got goosebumps. That's so smart. Because, of course, I feel like he even maybe brought up something like this a week or two ago with one of the read-throughs. If people keep talking about him, then his story still exists, which might be a way to bring him back, but that's smart. If the people who do remember him can spread his story and can make him legendary, then his existence can't really fade because a person's story is their existence in ORV. Your story's being created on the planet Earth. Someone's talking about me. I wonder who. I doubt it's Junghyuk. Could it be Hyunsung or Huiwon? Maybe Yusung. I've got no idea. It feels strange to know someone's talking about me somewhere. And that someone still remembers me. I wonder if all constellations can feel that in a way, you know? Because you would think, like, all the constellations would be... I mean, they are their story. So it feels like they'd be really familiar or really close to the story being shared, how it's being shared, and stuff like that. The story legend of Kim Dogeza was created on the planet Peaceland. Kim Dogeza, we are all the tiny people. I really wish they'd get my name right over there. Anyway, the first thing I've got to do is to obtain the scenario of the Demon Realm. You're approaching a scenario area. And of course, for anybody not getting the joke with him being Kim Dogeza, Dogeza is like when you bow down on your hands and knees, like the full down on your hands and knees bowing, and that's how his name was like misheard by the Japanese incarnation. Then I really wish they'd get my name right over there. Anyway, the first thing I've got to do is to obtain the scenario of the Demon Realm. You're approaching a scenario area. And it's actually kind of interesting that, again, Michio being the Japanese person who misheard it as Kim Dogeza, it kind of is almost weird that they wouldn't get it right, given that Dokja is reader in Korean, but Doksha is reader in Japanese. So they're basically the same. Dokja versus Doksha. They're kind of the same. Very similar roots there. Then obtain the scenario of the Demon Realm. You're approaching a scenario area. The route I'm taking now is the same one Junghyuk took in his 111th round. As long as nothing unusual pops up, the plan will likely work. Speaking of, Junghyuk's 111th round was quite eventful. I think that was around when the author of TWSA was in a slump. I'm not sure if it was because I gave some advice in the comments, but a new character suddenly appeared and the story's viewpoint changed. And then we have a quiver. I know, cutie, and he pulls out the egg. What a doting father. I suppose I can't keep calling her Yusung once this hatches. What should I call her? At that moment, Dokja heard a noise. He's surprised. What's that? Yeah, it would be kind of odd for more people to be in here. And We have flowers and stuff being collected. And we have many more, actually. I guess these would be the demons then. Collection slaves. They take orders from those who govern the demon realm and collect story fragments to use as fuel from around the horizon. Kim Dokja realized that if collection slaves were wandering about, an industrial complex should be nearby. Industrial complexes are like cities in the demon realm. That looks very cool. That looks really cool. Love the design here. There's a plant that grinds up the broken story fragments with a residential area surrounding it. If I recall correctly, the closest industrial complex should be Siswitz. Get a move on. You're behind on fuel collection for the day. Is that the overseer? Saying as he's with them. This must be a large-scale collection. Then one of them rounds the corner. Attribute Demon King candidate's been activated. It startled me. I wonder then, it'd be cool if Dokja can still use his Demon King powers. I figure he should be. And then I wonder then if they'll respect him since he's like a potential king. I want to stop. What? Please kill me. Kill me, please. This is what happens to those who've lost their story. They remember no one, and none remember them. Right, yeah, because that, in order to be here, you have to be outside of the scenarios. Kim Dokja made a decision. Is he going to kill them? Or is he going to be like, follow me and I can give you meaning and can give you, like, I can remember you and thus build your story back? Is he going to, like, mercy kill them or is he going to try to save them? Landscape of the Demon Realm Part 1. Okay, so we're entering a new chapter. Okay, it seems like he killed it. I wonder if he's able to then use anything. Well, it seems like he's just using the disguise. I was going to say if he can use any of it to help add to his new incarnation, but... And then he's 6424. And he goes back with the other collectors. Next. We have everyone. Okay. I'll blend in with the collection slaves. And that seems like the one that was just asking to die, right? Is it just that a lot of them look similar, or did he not kill it? It seems like he killed it and took its cloak, though, so I'm assuming this is just a different guy that looks similar. I'll blend in with the collection slaves and enter the industrial complex. They don't inspect the slaves as thoroughly as other travelers. That's all. Your yield today's pathetic. And they kill the guy in front of him. Hey, you. Take this one with you, too. Throw him in the fuel tank. That's the Demon Baron, Cheshefin. I could kill him if I tried with all my might. Next. But if I got rid of the Overseer myself, the Duke who owns the industrial complex would likely notice me. It'd be dangerous to face them now, without a fully intact physical incarnation. And it looks through all of the collected stuff. Dokja. Oh wow, you've actually brought quite a lot. You all need to take a page from his book, got it? The yield's been much too inadequate recently. At this rate, you'll all be used for fuel. Good work, 6424. Go on in. You've entered a scenario. And then we end with that chapter. Okay, that chapter, still very good. It was shorter because we had more like physical stuff going on and less dialogue, less character introspection, though we did have a bit. So again, I really like it, but there's no need for a but there as if I'm going to say anything bad. I like it. It's just like it wasn't a crazy chapter. It was a structural chapter meant to set us up for what comes next. So either way, let's read a little bit of what comes next. Let's read 226, at least for now. And last chapter really did successfully do its job, because I am really excited to see more of what's coming, like in the city. We have a baron here, we mentioned the demon duke, and we learned a bit more about the the demon rankings, the dink and ramings, the demon rankings. We learned a bit about them back during some of the previous scenarios where I'm forgetting some of their ranks. So Reinhardt, was he like Duke? Was he a Duke? I forget what he was. And I think I remember somebody being a Viscount. That was Tentasio, right? I think Tentasio was a Viscount. For some reason, I got confused because I was thinking that Reinhardt was an Archduke, but that would make Reinhardt even more powerful than the person we're potentially being introduced to, and I feel like we would be stepping up in power or prestige from Reinhardt, so maybe he wasn't an Archduke? I don't remember what Reinhardt's ranking was. Maybe it was. But we have a city encircled by a huge wall. Low slate roofs that form an uneven skyline. I really love this design work. It looks so good. Oh, I love this. I love establishing shots like this in anything. Like whether we're talking about comics like this or television, I love just establishing shots, a really good, well-designed city where I feel like I could just be like, I don't necessarily feel like I could be there in person, though that would be really sick to imagine. But it's like, I could imagine playing a video game and having a city running around it and it looking like this. God, I love that. Sometimes one would even see a steam engine pass by on the main road. The city was a jumble of people from various cultures and classes. It was a place constellations rarely keep an eye on, but it was home to many lives. A place for those who live the scenario outside of the scenario. And I mean, hey, you could live your life here. They apparently they have cute elf girls, they have furries. What more are you asking for? It's a cool city, as long as you're not one of the collection slaves, then you could maybe live a pretty good life here. And even if you are one of the collection slaves, just try to hope you can collect some really good stuff. An industrial complex. It was just as it was depicted. The Siswitz industrial complex of the 73rd Demon Realm. This has to be crazy for a reader as well. I just mentioned too, like whether it's in any form of media or whatever. But then Dokja is somebody who has heard this kind of place like described within a novel, and then he gets to walk through it and live it himself. Also, he's got the grippers out. That's probably the worst part of the city so far. They got stone roads and stuff, and he's just plapping around barefoot. This is what's industrial complex of the 73rd Demon Realm. At first sight, some might say, it's the Demon Realm, so how could it be this peaceful? This place is just like Earth, where humans live. On the other hand, that could also mean that the human world was just that terrible. Yeah, you see this very often. I saw it even talking about some series recently where people were like, how bad is the modern world? That guys will be like, man, this crazy, horrific demon world is so much better than the current modern world. Then, that's what it said in TWSA. And he changes back into his normal outfit. Some of the absorbed stories are causing a configuration conflict. I might have to move faster than I thought. Sleepy. Hey, wait. Personal skill, the fourth wall, has temporarily fallen silent. And he starts getting hit with the probability storm so much that even other people can see. Again, they got plenty. They have a high supply of cute elf people. Or, or at least two. There might not be any more. We might have just statistically had the improbability of seeing the only two they have, but, Darn, why'd this have to happen right here? An exile. Okay, and he's exposed. People are freaking out. In exile? How could he have gotten in here? He starts running. Shouldn't we report this? Darn if I don't hurry. Stand back. A noble's train is passing. We have a demon noble, maybe about to be introduced. Maybe even the Duke. A magic locomotive. And it just barrels through. That looks like Gilobot's locomotive. It's been passing by a lot lately. Phew, that was close. Who cares? The noble's business has nothing to do with us. But this could be important. There's talk of the 73rd Demon Realm being integrated. They say, Milodon and Birkin have joined hands. That surely puts Siswitz on its toes. Whoa, that rumor was true? But this realm's been without a Demon King for thousands of years already. Yeah, so that's probably why they see the Demon King will come from our realm. Word is, there's an oracle spreading among the Demon Kings. It's about the emergence of a new Demon King. Okay, so there's 72 already. And if there's a 73rd realm, does that mean there's a 74th and onward? They just also don't have kings? But this one hasn't had a king in like 1,000 years, though it does have the other hierarchy. And I wonder then, what are the odds that Dokja is going to become the king here, and then have an entire demon realm at his disposal? Then the Dukes must all be thinking it'll be them. There's a class system in this industrial complex. There are nobles of the demon realm who govern the industrial complex. And then we see a goat man in there. The workers, made up of incarnations laboring in various sectors. And the collection slaves who once were workers but lost their stories and were corrupted. As of now, those are the only three classes. But it'll be an entirely different story if a Demon King emerges. Then, Demon King. No race in the Demon Realm can disobey a Demon King. Within the Demon Realm, Demon King's status exceeds that of fabled constellations. The Dukes of the 73rd Demon Realm must be trying to prevent the emergence of a Demon King. If a Demon King appeared, their system of power would come crumbling down in a flash. However, a Demon King must be made. That's the reason I came to the Demon Realm. Okay, so I guess his plan is to become the king. It looks like you managed to survive, and he reacts. This is the second piece of information I'll give you. The Winnie Man? I love saying it too. Love the Winnie Man. Find the clock shop Etika. That's where you can obtain what you want. 3 ways to survive the apocalypse. And we see the clock shop looks awesome. I love these designs. This is probably the best looking place in the series so far. I have to. I don't even have a phone, so how am I supposed to find it? Find the story's second protagonist here. Okay, so this is where the second protagonist was introduced in TWSA, where people were getting bored of just Junghyuk. So now this is probably, or at least maybe, going to be a main character, and if so, maybe Dokja isn't going to become Demon King himself again, but rather the second protagonist is supposed to be the Demon King. This the Wagnon of TWSA. He bumps into them and realizes as they drop the cogs. Oh, sir. Come on, watch where you're going. So what if you're sorry? Ugh. You made me drop all the parts, you asshole. And I don't know, they look too innocent to be mad at them saying this. Then. Okay, we get a title splash. I didn't even realize we're this far in. Landscape of the Demon Realm, Part 2. Hey, you think being sorry fixes everything? This is ridiculous. Where were you even looking? Pick this stuff up if you feel bad, you jerk. And again, they're so tiny and cute looking. It's like such impotent rage. And he starts fumbling about. I'll let you off this once, but you better watch it next time. He picked these up really fast. Oh, but he's just like any other fantasy novel. TWSA had lots of pretty and handsome characters. If a character was particularly pretty or handsome, TWSA would describe their looks as outshining Yu Jung-kyuk so much it was like a smack to the face. And we see a shot of Jung-kyuk being slapped by Kyrgios. Kyrgios Rodgrame of Peaceland was one of such people. But there were still people in this world even more beautiful than Kyrgios. How was such a person described, you ask? Beauty worth 2 smacks to Yu Jung-kyuk's face. And only 3 people in TWSA were labeled so. Found him. I wonder who the others will be then. Or who have been. Like, you would think maybe Nirvana. Like, not for me personally, but I could see Nirvana. Min Ji-won, I could imagine, because that's kind of her whole thing, really. And then, you know, for me, for my personal taste, this is pretty. And we have some warthogs busting up the clock table. Darn, this is the 3rd time. What are you doing? What do you think? Don't you think it's high time you got the picture, if you've been through this 3 times? Demon Baron Melon and Demon Count Psylocke. But that's what I want to say. Again, they make all the furries men. But that's what I want to say. What do you think a mere clock shop owner can help you with? And then she's grabbed by the throat. It's clear that you're no ordinary clock shop owner. However, you're not so special as to warrant 3 requests from the Duke. I made what you wanted last time, didn't I? I can't help you this time. What's going on, Eileen? Did you take out a private loan or something? And they both react. It's the clock shop's foul-mouthed boy. Are you looking to get executed? Let me handle him. And then they toss Eileen. I think this every time I come here, but he really is pretty. I think this every time I see you, but you're truly revolting. He gets punched. With his looks, he'd make a fine addition to the Duke's concubines. What's the pay for that position? I won't go if it's not more than here. He gets backhanded by the warthog. It's no use taking him hostage. So, you're refusing our offer. That's what I should tell the Duke? I'm sorry, but then we'll need to collect your back taxes. It's the Duke's order. Sorry, I gotta go back up. I thought they said one of these 2 was the Duke. Was that a mistranslation? Because it seems like they're just the Duke's, like, henchmen. Which would make sense, because one of them definitely had a lower ranking. Sorry, I didn't think it was that far up. I've just been so absorbed. I was like, oh, it's just a couple panels ago. Okay, Demon Baron. That's the one I misread. Okay, so we have a Baron account. That makes so much more sense. Okay. Makes so much more sense here. Right. Continuing on. Then. Okay. His back slapped. No use taking him hostage. I'm sorry, but we'll need to collect your back taxes. It's the Duke's order. Taxes? But I've been exempt from them until now. Until now, yes. But that's no longer the case. You owe 50,000 coins. But there are hardly even any constellations around here. There's no way I'd have that kind of money. If you don't pay up, we'll take the boy. We can get about 50,000 coins for making him a concubine. Wow, 50,000 coins. Forget the taxes. We can just run away with that money, Eileen. I can't wait to make that insolent mouth of yours scream. Yeah, well... Dick? Damn? I look forward to it. Darn. Eileen Makerfield, accept the Duke's offer. This is your last chance. Aye. Dokja walks in. And then we get cliffhung. Okay, good cliffhanger. Good chapter once again. I like the clock boy already. Clock boy's already funny. I like Eileen a lot. I mean, we really haven't seen much character-wise. We've just seen her design. But I like her a lot. The Baron encounter, neat, but I'm assuming... I don't expect them to be too long for this world. Maybe they will be. But there's a chance that they are in the line of sight of a lot of danger right now. Also, though, you know, all the furries are guys. Would it kill them to have at least one female furry at this point? But, yeah, either way, the only ones we've had are maybe like background ones from Lycaon's backstory, but that's about it. Either way, though, I'm excited to continue on next time, but I had a lot of fun this time. These were good chapters. I love this setting. Like the first chapter, I think when it comes to the characters and story, it's probably the strongest because I love the stuff they did with Weebon's perspective, catching us up on stuff outside of what's going on with Dokja. I think that was very, very good, and added a lot to the story. But for me personally, I just think that this setting is extremely cool. I love seeing, Dokja off on his own, doing something new, introducing new characters. I love the idea of introducing more characters and maybe seeing some development for them. That's something that I find really exciting if they actually stick around. But just the setting in general, I think is incredible. And I would love to learn more about like the demon hierarchy and stuff. That sounds exciting. So either way, I'll end things there. This probably turned into a longer video than I would have hoped because, you know me, I yap a lot, but I had a ton of fun, and I'm also not trying to rush, obviously. So either way, I guess this is where we end. Thank you for watching and supporting and all of that. If you did like the video, comment down there too. Tell me what you thought of these chapters, my first thoughts and reactions. Subscribe for more Omniscient Reader, much more on the channel. Follow on Twitter if you want. If you want a link to the Discord server, it's free and open for anyone. If you'd like to help support the channel by dropping a super thanks or by sharing, it's very much appreciated. If you'd like to help support the channel, also get your name here at the end of videos and get One Piece videos a little bit early, you can become a member by hitting join down below, or become a patron by going to patreon.com/Haku of the Tubes, or a link will be in the description to become a patron. And yeah, I just mentioned it this morning when I recorded Kubera that I hadn't looked in a couple days to update this, so sorry if anybody's new. I'll add you as soon as I'm done with this. I just forgot to look before I came to record. But either way, thank you for people who are members and patrons. Thank you to Chosen Regulars Evan Holly and Bertie Wooster, Magical Girls, Efranono, J.A. and The D-Ban, Cheriton Students, David Langstaff and Folded Ghoul, Slayer Candidates, SG and Stan Cedar, and Pure Elements, Paterial, and Elsa the Storyteller. Thank you so much for your support. Thank you for watching, and I'll see you all next time.